Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
If you guys keep sending that garbage out, yeah, $450,000 per person. It's not true.
So this is a garbage report.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Really big flip-flop.
You said last week getting payments was garbage.
No, I didn't say that.
The other bill they're trying to pass.
My Build Back Better Act. Socialism.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. News and Views with Tom and Benny and Clark and you, and lots to talk about. You know, we've all been around a great-grandfather or great-grandmother, and they sometimes don't have total control. You know, sometimes they say things that they shouldn't say, and sometimes they lose control of bodily functions.
I'm old and I honestly don't care. That was me, folks.
You remember the movie The Nutty Professor?
I remember the movie, yeah.
When the Klumps, his family, was sitting around the table and trading...
ripping big ones.
Yeah.
Biden apparently... I mean, this is being reported in multiple news outlets. These aren't right-wing fringe groups. Numerous outlets are reporting. And by the way, you got to redo the clip there because apparently it was long and loud. Joe Biden... That's probably longer than that. I know this is really getting to be junior high stuff. I know, but listen.
Look at the White House. I mean,
this is being reported. The New York Post is reporting President Joe let out a long, loud, as like we like to say in front of the grandkids, poot. Trying to keep it PG here, and he did this in front of Kamala Parker Bowles, the Duchess of Cornwall, the gal that's married to Prince Charles. And apparently she has not been able to stop talking about the long, loud poot. Yeah.
How dare you, Joe?
You know, and what's interesting about this, though, is Joe is against emissions, right?
Yeah, he's packing a pretty big carbon footprint.
I mean, they want to get rid of the cattle, right? Because of
because cow poops. Yeah.
Well. Anyway, Biden met the Duchess during a reception last Monday at an art gallery attended by Prince Charles and the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and the talk of the town was the flatulence from the President of the United States. True story, folks. I know we sound like we're in junior high, but I
think it's a little
can't make it up.
I think it's a little misdirection he's doing to keep us off the policy. The policy and the moves, you know.
That's true.
Well, it is true that when Obama was in there, he would constantly come out with just ridiculous statements and findings and declarations and executive orders. And the next day he would come out with one more ridiculous, so you'd forget about the one that happened the day before. Well, with Joe, it's, crapping his pants one day and the next day booting in front of the judge.
Well, look, they probably discussed with him, a plan. And so that's a little complicated, but I got something. I can handle this, and I'll just break wind. I'll break wind, and that'll be the story. 24-hour news cycle.
All right. I would like to say I promise you we won't come back to that story, but I don't know. Listen, the infrastructure package. I am so irritated. I am so mad. How dare these rhino Republicans? Look, it would not have passed the House and it wouldn't have gotten to the Senate had it not been for 13 Republicans in the House voting with Nancy Pelosi that passed this infrastructure package. It would have failed. These 13 allowed it to pass.
And again, it's another case of Republicans. I mean, they had a victory. They actually they had a defeat. Pelosi was going to be defeated. Biden was going to be defeated. And Republicans bailed them out. I mean, it's just
It is so frustrating. And then it gets to the Senate, and guess who voted for it? I have tried my best not to slam Tom Tillis, but Tillis and Burr both voted for this thing. Like, well, it would have passed anyway, so I might as well have voted for it. I am sorry. This is beyond the pale. I have done my best to try and give Tom Tillis the benefit of the doubt. This is beyond the pale. This is just unbelievable.
And from what I've seen, they've kind of broken this infrastructure up where, some of the things they'll have another bill, and they'll have some of the true infrastructure in that bill. They had some infrastructure in this bill. So then they'll have the talking points. Okay, you've got Republicans that don't want to vote for better streets, better bridges. They split the things up. I know what they're doing.
Listen, all you've got to do is come out and read the bill. Just the talking points from the RSC. It's not a true infrastructure bill. 110 billion. What is it? 1.75 trillion. So about a tenth of it. This is what we talked about with Greg Murphy on Friday afternoon. About 110 billion, 10% actually goes for infrastructure. And this is an analysis done by Club for Growth. It does give plenty of money to AOC and her new Green Deal. It fixes racism in highways. Part of the 110 billion earmarked for rebuilding roads and bridges is dedicated to fixing racism physically built into some of our highways. This, according to Pete Buttigieg. So what they're going to do, and what are you talking about? They're coming out and saying, oh, well, this highway goes through a section of town that is primarily occupied by the black community. So therefore, we have got to move this highway, rebuild the highway, spend millions and millions of dollars to bypass these neighborhoods where the highway is already there. And in some cases, the highway's been there for decades.
And you're putting a guy responsible for this that couldn't fix potholes in a town the size of Greenville, basically.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
The money gives woke regulators oversight on broadband expansion, favors people who live in blue cities. Electric vehicle owners who overwhelmingly live in blue cities will get $15 billion. Pushes the left's social justice mission. The term equity is included 64 times in this bill. Too long to comprehend, 2,701 pages. These guys didn't read this bill.
No. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, what is it going to actually cost? It's going to cost a whole lot more. And Greg Murphy mentioned this the other day. It's probably going to cost 3 or 4 times more than the projected 1.75 trillion.
The CBO has not scored it yet, have they?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So my question with any Republican that voted for it, what are you basing it on? You believe in the Democrats, what they tell you it's going to cost if the CBO have not scored it?
I'm sorry. And on the Republican side, in the Senate, those who voted for it: Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, Shelley Moore Capito from West Virginia, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, Susan Collins, no surprise there, Kevin Kramer from North Dakota, Mike Crapo from Idaho, Deb Fisher from Nebraska, Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, Chuck Grassley from Iowa, John Hoeven from North Dakota, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, Rob Portman from Ohio, James Risch from Idaho, Mitt Romney, Dan Sullivan, Tom Tillis, Roger Wicker from Mississippi. And by the way, Donald Trump is livid, called out the rhinos in the House and the Senate who voted for the bill. He specifically called out Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Quote, all Republicans who voted for Democrat longevity should be ashamed of themselves, in particular Mitch McConnell, for gaining a 2-month stay, which allowed Democrats time to work things out at our country's and the Republicans' party expense. You look at this and you say to yourself, last week, the Democrats got shellacked. They got shellacked. They admit it. Even the Democrats admit it. And so Joe comes out, and Ocasio-Cortez comes out and said, well, it's because we weren't liberal enough. If we'd only passed these things and even been more liberal, then we would have won those races. And what do the Republicans do? I mean, I'm not necessarily saying you got to dance on the grapes, but this is bad legislation. This legislation stinks.
Snatch a defeat out of the jaws of victory. Always.
I'm sorry, but could we please have someone that would come out and announce that they're running against Tom Tillis? I've had it with Tillis. I know a lot of our listeners get on my case because I've tried to be polite to the senator, but I've had it. I don't care what explanation you get. I have had it with Tillis.
Yeah, and they had, you're talking 2 states last week that are clearly blue states. And they, and who knows? Maybe the New Jersey race really isn't over yet. But it was what 15 points better than what it should have been.
Garbage out of them. By the way, Trump tonight is a headliner at a fundraiser for House Republicans. I mean, this is a big time fundraiser. Tickets start at $5,000. They go up to $255,000 for a VIP package. But it's a big event in Tampa. Kevin McCarthy is going to be down there. Steve Scalise is going to be down there. Elise Stefanik is going to be there. And this is all about taking back the House next year. And listen, by the way, Adam Kinzinger, he voted for the package along with in that 19 senators and 13 Republican House members voted for this. And a bunch of those House members, and by the way, the guy that just flipped parties from New Jersey that came over to the Republican Party, he voted for it as well. A bunch of them from up in New York. I'm speechless that these people. We had a victory, and these elected officials. And how I mean, I really would like to peel back the layers of the onion and find out how much personal goodies there are in this packages.
Yeah, and I've heard Tom Tillis I hadn't heard him since this vote, but the last vote, he basically saying that the Republicans, they were backs up against a wall. This was the only thing to prevent a worse bill. But we've gone 6 months they've been working on this and no consensus.
Yeah.
I mean, you had them on the ropes. Knock them out.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, play the long game. I mean, the idea is okay. Let's knock down the Democrats. We'll go as best we can until November of next year. We'll get the House. We'll get the Senate, and then we can really put forth the bills that we want. But no, you just gave it to them.
You wait. The more Green New Deal stuff, more social engineering, social justice, socialism bill will come back up. They'll sprinkle more infrastructure in there so they can scare the Republicans into saying, I cannot believe you're voting for kids in small town America not to have internet access.
Oh, yeah.
And things such as that.
Oh, yeah.
Just to fill it with a bunch of crap.
Thank you.
I mean, I can see it coming.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we'd have a senator that represents North Carolina could see it coming.
I mean, our North Carolina, I would like to think the Republicans in North Carolina are conservative. I would like to think that. But we have 2 senators up there that, why don't you just go ahead and join the Democrats? I mean, you're going to vote with them? Go ahead and join the party.
Well, Burr's just trying to get out of Washington without going to jail. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
He's too worried about his little insider trading investigations, what I think.
By the way, speaking of the House and the Senate, the Carolina Journal's got an interesting article today. Former North Carolina Congressman Mark Walker, he is one of the Republican candidates to run for the Burr Senate seat. Mark Walker, Ted Budd, and Pat McCrory are all running for the Republican vote for in the primary for that seat. Mark Walker, now it doesn't come out with anything definitive, but in this article, Mark Walker has acknowledged that a lot of people are encouraging him, and some higher-ups are encouraging him, hey, why don't you run for the House seat that Ted Budd is going to be leaving? You fill into that, and then it will be a Ted Budd, Pat McCrory race, which it'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall at the Pat McCrory headquarters.
Yeah, I wonder if is it some people from Pat McCrory's campaign that's calling him?
Well, no.
Hey, Walker,
Pat McCrory doesn't want Mark Walker to drop out. Now, Ted Budd's folks might be calling him.
Yeah, Ted Budd's, yeah. I think you'd make a fine U.S. House member.
Yeah. But here's the point. When I've had Mark Walker and Ted Budd both on, and I asked Walker, and this is going back several months ago, but I said, without, I didn't want to insult the man, but I sort of inferred, okay, y'all are going to split the vote. If you look at the conservative side of the Republican Party, because I would say of the three candidates, by far, Mark Walker and Ted Budd are more conservative. As the conservative vote goes in the Republican Party, it's going to go to one of those two candidates. Mm-hmm. And I would think that, and Mark Walker just said, no, I think we can win this, which I understand. That's what you're supposed to say. But listen, if this, I would say right now, I'd probably, with Mark Walker in there, I'd have to give the nod to Pat McCrory as having probably, at the end of the day, getting more of the votes. But if Mark Walker were to get out of this and run for the House seat, I'd say it's too close to call, and maybe give just a little bit of a upper hand to Ted Budd.
Well, he certainly has the Donald Trump endorsement, and for people that want to say, Republicans want to say that, well, I don't know if the Donald Trump endorsement's worth all that much. Well, he won North Carolina, and Roy Cooper won North Carolina, so it sounds like Donald Trump
has some influence.
Some influence in North Carolina.
Lots more to talk about. Love to hear from you. 561-8255. We'll be right back.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
We have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?
The food that you enjoy with people that you love.
Hi, I'm Richard Langley, and after helping my grandmother with an iPad she received as a gift, I realized how many other older adults may also have challenges with their own technology.
Happy Grandma specializes in helping with any tech issue you may be experiencing. Whether it's setting up a new computer or TV, having issues with the printer or Wi-Fi, or showing you how to use your tech, we want to help you. To make it easier, we come directly to you with a smile on our face.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough.
When tech gets tough, get happy.
Happy Grandma Senior Tech Support.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
This is your Drive at 5 and ENC with Tom Lamprecht. Welcome back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
It was 5 years ago today that Donald Trump upset the Hildebeest, becoming the 45th president.
And people, liberals and mainstream media,
lost their minds.
Lost their minds. That was so funny that night.
Just like I promised, right?
Yep, it was. Taking a look at your weather forecast. Tonight, clear low around 42. The next few days are going to be gorgeous, though. Tomorrow's high with lots of sunshine, 73. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high near 74. Lows overnight, clear skies, and it will be in the mid-40s. So good-looking weather for the next couple of days. No rain until Friday. It's supposed to rain late. By the way, kudos to our colleague and friend Patrick Johnson. He is going to be this year's voice for the ECU Pirates basketball team, men's basketball team, starting tomorrow night. They host South Carolina State. He will do the play-by-play for ESPN, and that's a huge gig.
Yeah, it is a big gig.
Yeah, so it's starting out with ESPN Plus, but he'll be doing, I think, it's just about all the home games for ESPN
That's
Plus.
probably 14 or 15 maybe home games.
So yeah, I'm guessing something like that.
12 to 15.
So, starts tomorrow night, 7:00 at Minges Coliseum. Marty Kotis. You talked about him last week. I can't remember if we had this discussion on the air or off the air. That's the problem for folks that are listening. Benny and I have so much conversation going on during the breaks and after the program, before the program. A lot of times I can't remember what we talked about on the air or off the air.
You know, and our off-air comments is available for premium membership to listen. No, I'm kidding. No, I actually think we talked about it off-air. Really.
Marty Kotis, though, is on the Board of Governors for the UNC University system. And so he's on the University of North Carolina Chapel. I'm sorry, I guess, is it the whole board? I guess it's just Chapel Hill.
He was on the Board of Governors.
Okay, and now it's just
on the Board of Trustees for UNC Chapel Hill.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got that right, but the dates were off a little bit. Anyway, last Thursday he offered a motion that would have prohibited the university, UNC Chapel Hill, from making admission decisions on the basis of race, sex, color, or ethnicity. The proposed policy change reads similar to existing policies enacted by other universities in other states. Quote, "What I really wanted was some public discussion on the matter," Kotis told the Carolina Journal. "One of the things I've heard from parents is sometimes a feeling that their kid applied and didn't get in, and someone else who they felt was less qualified did. I wanted to clean the air on that concept and ensure we're not allowing people into the school for any other reason than academic merit. That we're not trying to socially engineer the school for appearance's sake." Kotis said the university should aim for equality of opportunity and admission and not try to meet quotas based on race or sex. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. I mean, is this not great common sense? Is this not a slam dunk? Shouldn't everybody of every background say amen, Marty?
I thought that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah. But, colorblind society?
But, in today's world, the left is anti-meritocracy.
Yes,
basically.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are.
And the board ultimately voted down the motion with Kotis and Allie Ray McCullen as the only yes votes. One of the no votes at the meeting came from Lamar Richards, who also serves as undergraduate student body president at UNC Chapel Hill. Quote, "This resolution is honestly disrespectful. That's the only way I can sum it up," said Richards, who wrote a column in June, encouraging anyone from a historically marginalized identity seeking to attend Chapel Hill to look elsewhere until a rebirth occurs at the school. This is a pattern that you're seeing over and over and over again. The idea of what Martin Luther King said, judge people by the content of the character, not by the color of their skin, is gone. And the woke crowd is all about it.
And my question for Lamar Richards, which is the student body president at Chapel Hill, is he says that's the only way I can sum it up. Okay, well let's dive into the details. You say that's the only way I can sum it up. This resolution is disrespectful. How so, Mr. Richards?
Yeah.
How is it disrespectful to say that we will not consider, race, creed, sexual orientation, or anything, and admissions, advancements, hiring, or anything? What's wrong with that?
By the way, along with that, the Free Beacon is reporting a study out from the Educational Freedom Institute's and that's run by a guy named James D. Paul and the University of Arkansas's Robert Manerto. They've done a study, and according to the American Enterprise Institute, this study has found that approximately 20% of the hires that go on at our universities across the country, primarily public universities they're talking about, 20% of them, when you apply, you have got to submit a statement on diversity, equity, and inclusion, a DEI statement. Now, listen, I promise you that if your statement just said, I will treat everyone with the utmost respect, and I will not consider the color of their skin or their sex or their religious background, I will be fair to all people, that is not good enough. That would not make the mark. You would not get hired based on that. You would have to come out with a statement that is totally woke.
Yep.
That you're going to give transgenders and homosexuals and people of color would obviously be first in line, and white males are not even to be considered. And I'm dead serious with this. But diversity, equity, and inclusion, you want to send your kids to a state-sponsored university. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying this is what they're going to get. That at least 20% of the hires have got to embrace the woke agenda. And what was really interesting about this is they thought that the STEM courses, the science, the technology courses, the mathematics courses, they thought that, and the engineering courses, they thought those courses would be exempt. That it would just be, the liberal arts courses, the African study courses, the women gender study courses, sociology,
psychology,
all that stuff. They would be the ones. He said, nope, no difference. The STEM courses just as bad as the other courses.
And I mean, this kind of falls in line with the whole critical race theory discussion and all that. But to your point, I mean, if you made that, you'd have to make a statement. If it didn't talk about acknowledging the systemic racism somewhere in your statement, if you said, acknowledging systemic racism, then there's no way you'd be considered for that position.
No,
not in today's. And I got in a discussion this weekend with a liberal friend of mine, and they're more than just liberal. They're actually, they're a nice person. They're just
communists.
They just choose to be ignorant. I mean, ignorance is a choice. I mean, it is. I mean, it's nothing. That's just a choice you make.
A city used to say it's a mental disease.
But when someone tells me, and you've heard it for the last month with the whole Mark Robinson talking about critical race theory and the Democrats saying it does exist, that's a lie. I have in my hands, and I'll be happy to share it with anyone who want to see it, a letter from the dean of the School of Education at a major state-supported university in North Carolina that talks all about critical race theory. So if she's the head of the dean of the education department, then that's who's teaching our teachers.
Yep. And I'm sure that there are students in there. Some lap it up, others sit there and bite their tongue, saying, I've got to get through this course. I'll go ahead and bite my tongue.
If they don't bite their tongue, they'll flunk out.
Yeah. If they speak up, you're right. By the way, so it's not just, it's in academia, obviously. It's also in the corporate world big time. Fox Business is reporting one of the world's largest investment firms. Now, if you're at the firm, if you want to hire a white man, you've got to get special permission. This is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders at one of the largest investment firms in the world, State Street Global Advisors, will need to ask permission to hire white men as it rolls out a diversity hiring initiative. This is now front and central for State Street. It's on every senior executive scorecard, said Jesse McNichols, the bank's head of inclusion, diversity, and corporate citizenship in London, according to the Sunday Times. All of our leaders need to demonstrate at their annual appraisals what they've done to improve female representation and the number of colleagues from ethnic minority backgrounds. People that hold this position that this guy has, I'm the head of inclusion, diversity, and corporate citizenship, that person is just dead weight. That person is just dead weight who has never met a payroll in their life, has no real goals to make the company any stronger. It's all just about wokeness. The whole thing is just about keeping the woke crowd happy.
Well, I can tell you, big time corporate America and institutional America.
Oh, they're all about this.
Including universities in North Carolina, spend a boatload of money on that nonsense.
Yeah. The company aims to triple the number of black, Asians, and minority staff in senior positions by 2023. Recruiters will now have to establish panels of 4 or 5 employees, including women and a person with a minority background, when hiring middle management staff. So basically, what they're saying is, okay, you want to hire this white guy, well, you have to go out and hire a woman and a minority so it all equals out. Now, stop and think about this, though. If this was in reverse, if this company came out and said, look, you have to have special permission to hire, and then you fill in the blank. Anybody other than a white male, if you had in there, you have to give special permission to hire blacks, to hire gays, to hire women, to hire transgenders, whatever, to hire a Muslim, whatever. If you had to get special permission for anybody else other than a white male, this person in charge of diversity would be canned tomorrow. But by the way, where is it on the application in the United States anyway? Maybe over in London you can do this, but I've owned my own business, and when you have an application, you're not allowed to ask how old you are, what color is your skin, what gender are you. It's illegal.
And in my 32 years, you've a little bit longer, a few years longer, 32 years of being in corporate America with a large company and then with myself, I can tell you my experience is a couple of things. Attitude and effort is about all that matters on determining if somebody's going to be a successful person. Yeah. And that's all that matters. You know, male, female, or whatever, black, white, Hispanic, that doesn't matter. And for this wokeness of the day to keep doing this, to me, it's a slap in the face telling someone else, telling a female, telling a black person or an Asian person, hey, we've got to give you special privileges because you can't make it on your own.
Yes.
That's bull crap. And I would be offended if I were
them. Well, isn't that racist?
I think so.
Hey, we got to take another time out. When we get back, new polls are out, and Joe keeps going in the same direction, and it ain't up. Stay with us.
Come on.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Speaking of woke, the U.S. Navy, they're woke. They have named one of their newest Navy ships after child sexual predator Harvey Milk. And it was christened by a transgender veteran. I'm not making this up. Over the weekend, the ship named for Harvey Milk was launched and christened by a transgender veteran in San Diego Bay on Saturday. Harvey Milk served in the Navy during the Korean War. He was a politician elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and first openly gay elected official in the history of California. He was assassinated, but wasn't it? I'm pulling from memory here, but wasn't it some gay lovers dispute or something?
I don't know. I remember there was a movie about him a few years ago, but I didn't. I honestly didn't know much about him until read some articles about the movie.
I remember when it happened, but showing my age there. But Harvey Milk reportedly assaulted a 16-year-old boy, and this is who the Navy is naming a ship after. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. The woke crowd is, you know you're in trouble when wokeism is permeating the Navy. So although all this is being noticed by Americans with exactly 1 year until the midterm elections, Biden and Harris and the Democrats in Congress face bleak ratings that indicate they would be in for a rout in 2022. I don't want to sound cocky because a year in politics is a long, long time, but this is not done by a conservative group. This is a USA Today Suffolk University poll. The survey, which was taken after last week's election, but before the Democrats passed their infrastructure bill, shows Biden with nearly rock bottom approval ratings. And by the way, I don't think, now I know this is what Joe said, we got to pass this bill, so I don't think passing these bills, when people find out what's in them, as I explained it early in the program, it's not going to help Joe or Harris at all. Harris's numbers are even worse than Joe's. Among the top line numbers, according to USA Today Suffolk University, 37.8% approval rating for Biden with a 59% disapproval, 21 points underwater. 46% of those included in the survey said Biden has done a worse job than expected. I would actually not be in that category. To me, Joe's right on schedule.
I hadn't been fooled at all.
Yeah. I mean, a shame on you people that voted for him and actually think that he would do a good job.
I really don't think I can't possibly think anyone really thought he would do a good job. I mean, just tell me one thing that happened in the Democrat primary and in the race with Donald Trump that makes you think he'd be a good president. The one thing I would say about him was that Donald Trump in the first debate allowed him to survive. I still say that. For people that love Donald Trump and think I'm being critical of Trump, I'm being critical of Trump on that. Trump should have just shut up and let him stick his foot in his mouth.
Yeah.
Because he would have done it.
64% said they don't want Biden to run for re-election. I don't think you have to worry about that. And probably 65% don't think he's going to be alive by the time the next election comes up. Harris is just 27.8 approval rating, 51.2 disapproval. That's 23% underwater, 2% more than Joe. Congressional Democrats, meanwhile, may face an uphill battle to preserve their razor-thin majorities. USA Today Suffolk University gives Republicans a 46% to 38% advantage on a generic congressional ballot. So that's whoever might be running. They're just saying, okay, if it's between a Republican and a Democrat, who would you vote for? 46% to 38%, folks. That is a landslide.
That is, yeah.
That is a landslide. Did you hear over the weekend, Kevin McCarthy is saying that he thinks it's possible that the Republicans could pick up 60 seats. And again, I don't want to sound cocky. It's a long way away, 60 seats.
Well, normally, it's pretty normal that the party in power in the White House, they lose seats.
Right.
I mean, that's the norm.
Yeah, and when was the last time it didn't happen was when George W. Bush was the president, but we just had 9/11.
Right. But I think I don't disagree with Kevin McCarthy. I mean, these poll numbers are horrible. And Harris's numbers are worse than Joe Biden's.
Yep.
That's why I still stand by my people call it conspiracy theorists, but I've said it from day one. He will not make it to the midterms, and I think everyone in Washington in the Democrat Party, including the Biden family, know he's not going to make it, and it's been in the plans. I just do. There's no way these Democrats politically are that stupid to think that Joe Biden can take them to the midterms or take them to the next election.
What's amazing to me, though, is what is their thinking? Because even today, the White House has come out and said they are seriously considering, and they've vacillated on this just today. No, we are. Yes, we are. We're looking at it. No, we will. Yes, we will. They're talking about shutting down the Line 5 pipeline that goes from Canada into Michigan. And so you're basically you're already spending, I talked about this last week, 50% more on your gasoline cost. It's going to be 30% more than last year to heat your home with natural gas. It's probably going to be closer to 50% if you're heating with oil. And now Joe wants to shut down this major pipeline. He gives the okay for the Russians and their pipeline, but the pipeline that would heat American homes, he wants to shut this down on top of everything else that he's done.
And at the climate change conference, he asked Russia and OPEC to pump a little more oil.
Saudi Arabia and Russia, yeah. And they said, stick it up your and that's when he let loose. 5618255. Is it Josh? Yeah. Hey, Josh. Welcome in.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, guys. Glad to talk to you again. I caught the beginning of Talk of the Town this morning, and they were talking with Homer Tire, and I got to admit, I was a little mystified. I'm glad Homer is making the best of the upswing that the industry's in as far as real estate, but I feel like he was very optimistic about the fact that it wasn't a bubble. I work in an industry that comes right alongside and kind of parallels real estate, and to see the trouble that they're having because of scarcity and just the cost of prices in the market, and then the cost of building materials, lack of labor, and just thinking down the road, okay, when all this stuff gets ready to go back down or hits an artificial wall, or the government finally admits, hey, we've been propping this up or artificially, messing with it, and everything just kind of drops out from under it, you're going to get people that have been paying on a $600,000 loan for a house that isn't worth $200,000, and probably aren't going to be able to pay all that same amount later on down the road. What are we going to do? So I wanted to get you guys' opinion on that, because that's a domestic issue, but it's also being artificially messed with, I'd say, on a federal scale.
Well, it's being artificially messed with because of the way the Fed has kept interest rates so low for so long.
Supply and demand, pumping money.
And what you're going to find, and look, I'm not an expert on this, but just from past history, I've lived long enough that I've seen it. What you're going to see is when they are forced to increase interest rates, which they're going to have to do, otherwise your inflation is going to be so far out of hand. I mean, inflation right now is the highest it's been in 30 years already this year, and there's no sign of it letting up. And in order to keep inflation at bay, they're going to have to increase interest rates. Well, there's only so much money that a person can afford to purchase a house for. Right now, they're overpaying for the houses because the interest rates are so low. As those interest rates increase, you're going to see the cost of the house at least plateau, if not begin to drop. And it's not only supply and demand, and there is a big demand out there. I don't doubt that. But one of the reasons the demand is so high is because people are seeing these interest rates and they're saying, oh, my goodness, this is my opportunity to buy the dream house I've always wanted. And they're going in and they're overpaying for the house, but they justify it with the low interest rates. And by the way, if you got any kind of a balloon interest rate, an ARM or one of those things, boy, you better go and get a straight 15, 25, 30-year loan, because I think, and this is not just from me, I've heard a lot of other people that are smarter than I am say this, that you're going to see the interest rates increase.
Curtailed with that, what about the local taxes for the new valuation on all these houses in neighborhoods that are going to balloon the property values? I don't see local governments or state governments coming off of the tax increase that they're going to throw on everybody because of that either. Do you?
Well, I'll tell you this. When I got my tax bill this last time, part of it, you got to do your homework. And when I got my tax bill for my residential, now some people love to see their tax bill go up because they think, oh my gosh, my house is worth a lot more than I thought it was. And if the tax value is this, then I can get X number of dollars for this. Well, I don't plan to sell my house anytime soon. When we got our tax bill, I wrote a very courteous letter to the guys that review all this stuff, and I said, hey, listen, let me show you some comparisons of houses that have sold here in the last 12 months. And I didn't come back and say I don't want any increase, but I said, look, I think an equitable increase amount would be X dollars or X percent. And they wrote back and said, okay, we agree with that. You did your homework. So I mean, a part of it is up to the homeowner. If you don't want your tax bill to go up, you need to go out and do your homework. But in terms of just taking it up across the board, I hope the good news is local politicians have a tendency to listen a little bit more clearly than the guys up in D.C. do. So if you don't want to see the tax bills go up, then you need to let your elected officials know that.
Well, Josh, I was able just to catch just a few seconds of Homer's comments this morning. I had to take a call, but I do believe, and I heard a little bit of what he said, but I do agree that this market is nothing like it was in the 2007-ish, 8-ish, before the crash. The number of units is nowhere near what they were then, but the bottom line is there's a lot of money being pumped in the economy. That's going to run prices up. But over time, I've charted it, over time, real estate doesn't outpace inflation very much. It has its ups and downs, so what goes up must come back down to that trend line.
Hey, Josh, we got to take a break. Thanks for the call. Stay with us. Benny and I'll be right back.
Your trade-in value has never been hotter. Get to Greenville Toyota now. We'll pay more for your trade than ever before. Get cash on the spot, even if you don't buy from us. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Air service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
So Barack Obama made his way to Glasgow, Scotland. He spoke at the United Nations Climate Conference, and of course he flew there in a private jet. He then, during his remarks, blamed the Trump administration for the current environmental problems and demanded Americans bear the burden of a transition from fossil fuels to so-called green energy. It's unbelievable. But the president, the former president, currently lives in a 6,800 square foot energy-guzzling mansion right on the ocean in Martha's Vineyard. He moved there in 2019 despite the claims from climate change alarmists that the sea levels were rising at an alarming rate.
Hypocrite.
Unbelievable. Hey, we got to run. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.